Welcome, everyone, to the 33rd episode of the Split Screen Gaming Podcast, that occasionally weekly podcast where three lifelong friends correspond about video games from the comfort of wherever they are happen to be at the time.
So comfy.
Because we do this over the internet now. Networks. It's an amazing invention of modern times.
So modern.
Absolutely. Well,
Split Screen Gaming.
I'm
just like the hype woman in the background, like... You see the trailers and like big action. She's like action beyond belief, things like that. I'm just like accentuating highlights.
You like the background singers that repeat the same thing that the lead singer said?
Same exact thing.
Exactly.
Hey everyone, I'm Chad Michael Innes.
I'm Holden DePardo. He actually didn't say that. I just realized that. I'm like, oh, I did the intro.
Yeah,
no, I
didn't do the intro.
I did half the intro.
Guess you're fired. Hi everyone, nice to meet you. This is going to be Personality 1, and this is Personality 2, and we're going to be interviewing each other today. Oh my god, that sounds so weird. Holden's fired.
I get fired. That's so sad.
We do have a shit ton to talk about this week.
We do. It's been like 9 days since we recorded last. Which
That's
is a
why
long
we say
time for
occasionally weekly, because we are not good enough to hold on to any kind of schedule.
Before I moved, we were on the dot with it every week. Every
and
Sunday.
then you fucked everything up.
I fucked everything up by changing my life. Oh,
Jesse just showed me a meme of Dawson from Dawson's Creek crying, saying, when your work friend tells you they got a new job and they're leaving the company.
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
That's not even funny. That's just true.
Yeah,
except for this one.
Except for you left the entire state.
Yeah. When I left, you applauded. You were so happy.
I was Pacey Witter in that situation, and I finally got Katie Holmes.
Good
Joey
for you.
Potter.
Man, after Tom Cruise as well. That's impressive.
Yeah,
or technically speaking, that's before Tom Cruise. But chronologically, right now, you started dating Katie Holmes after Tom Cruise. And she just happens to be the third friend of the podcast this week. Katie Holmes will be joining us.
Katie Holmes, welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes, what games have you been playing this week?
I've been playing the game where I take all of my special prescription pills and spread them on the countertop and take a random 3 and hope I don't die.
Did Katie Holmes have a drug problem?
She does now, if she didn't already.
Well, I have basically one giant thing to talk about.
What is that giant thing? Oh, it's your Mario, goddamn. And then I saw you have 1-2 Switch written in there. I'm a little judgmental right now, but tell me about your game.
No. I didn't play 1-2 Switch. I just have a funny story about that.
Okay.
So why don't you go first?
Okay. I have been playing all week. Guess.
I'm going to take a guess here. You've been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
South Park Butthole. The Fractured Butthole.
I was actually going to joke and say, I said that because I'm like, oh, it was obviously Destiny.
No, I haven't
totally
played Destiny.
Forgot.
I played Destiny one time, and it was just to go see what Zur had and buy some shit. I kind of miss it. It's always there in the background. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm cheating on Destiny right now, and I can't wait to beat this and then beat Mario and then get back to Destiny. But I'm playing South Park Fractured Butthole, and I've played about 10 hours of it.
I'm like the friend who's like, I think Destiny and you just aren't right for each other. They keep like egging you on about that.
It's so good, though.
No, I do hear it's a good game. So tell me about South Park.
Is fucking hysterical. It is just as funny as the first game. Stick of Truth was the funniest video game I've ever played in my life. And this one, you jump right back into it.
I was worried about that because the first game, I'm not sure, it took them like 4 years to write the first game.
I'm sure writing wasn't all they were doing for 4 years.
They said 4 years to write the game. I recall that for some reason.
Yeah, but you also recall liking Zelda Breath of the Wild, so can't trust your recollection.
We'll be talking about that in the podcast this week.
No, again. Okay, but Fractured Butthole is very, very good. Incredibly smart humor. I love that they've taken all of every item you find in this world, whether it's a piece of trash used to craft with, or whether it was like a big artifact that you used to power up your character, is so. Everything is thought about, and it has a hilarious name, whether it's referencing the show or just something stupid funny. It's fantastic. I also love all of the random-ass dialogue from all the characters. Super witty. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to go into any kind of details about, jokes or any big, scenes or moments in the game, because I think that having them spoiled will lessen the comedy factor. So I'm not going to outright say anything, except for one joke that I really enjoyed. As I was walking by a bus stop, and there are 2 people waiting at this bus stop the entire game so far. And then one of them said, well, damn, this bus should have been here last December. And it was meta because this game's original release date was last December.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then it got pushed to the fall or the spring, and then it got pushed to now.
That's a very Arrested Development thing. One of my favorite, two great like meta jokes in Arrested Development that are similar to that is when they went from season 1 to season 2, they went from 22 episodes to 18 episodes. And Michael Bluth is working on this like new housing development. He's like, they want us to do with 18 houses what we really should be able to do with 22 houses. There's that, and then they had the whole Save Our Bluths thing.
Yep.
Which is great. Yeah, good show.
So South Park, Butthole. Butthole's the name of your character. It has it has a super deep combat system, which is, I guess it's like Fire Emblem. I've never played a Fire Emblem game. I've watched someone play it, and it's boring as shit.
It looks like, honestly, from what I've seen, it looks like a smaller scale version of Mario Rabbids without like obstacles in the path and stuff.
There are times when it has obstacles in it, but it's definitely a smaller grid for that. But there's no like team-based shit like Rabbids, but there are a couple of obstacles. But the combat options are a lot more diverse. Yeah. Whether it is like confusing someone or attacking in an X pattern or kind of turning invisible and barreling through people, knocking them back, things like that. So there's a lot of extra combat shit. There are several points at which you'll be able to like choose different classes and things like that and meld moves from one to the other. But the combat is not what you play the game for. It's all about the humor, the social commentary, the fantastic shit from Mr. Mackey on your gender. They just keep exploring and continually defining your gender throughout the entire game. Can we talk about that joke
for a second? Because I think that one joke is super funny, just from what I've seen, is that you can go to you're one of your teachers at any point and reassign your gender.
Yep, just say, hey, I identify as something differently now. But they'll call you back into the office several times throughout the game. Like, at first you're just saying boy, girl, whether you identify as cisgender or transgender. And then they're like, well, who do you like now? They call you back a second time. Who do you like now? Do you find yourself attracted to people who identify as or might appear as girls? And then they like put this giant scientific label on you, and that defines a piece of you in your character sheet.
That's hysterical. That's so funny.
Anytime you say something that might make him uncomfortable, he's like, oh, okay. I'm going to go call your parents real quick. I'll be right back, okay? So freaking funny.
That's really good.
So, yes, if you are a South Park fan, you can get all these little jokes all over the place. It's freaking hysterical. If you're not a South Park fan and you enjoy very witty and well thought out social commentary, you'll enjoy this game. If you are very easily offended, don't play this.
If you can handle the lowbrow humor. There's some highbrow stuff in South Park. I'm aware of that. But like for me personally, I don't like the more like lowbrow immature humor in it as well.
Just know that a lot of your powers are based on farts.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the kind of stuff that like I'm like, okay, like.
But the fact
I have a lot of respect for Matt Parker and is it
Trey Stone?
Trey Parker,
and Matt Stone.
Okay, yeah. They're obviously geniuses when it comes to like just the amount of content they can write and how quickly.
When you start this game, from the very beginning, when you are choosing your appearance and you have that sliding scale where you can choose your skin color, and as you go towards more being black, they say the darker your skin, the more difficult the game will be. Don't worry, it's not going to affect combat at all. Just how much money you earn and every other aspect of your life, how people treat you and how people talk to you. And I think that is so fucking brilliant that that's their difficulty slider in this game.
That's hysterical. That's the kind of stuff, like, they are obviously very smart, very witty people. That's
and
hysterical.
Also, like, every side quest that you get from the police officers, like, the police are like, hey, you want to be a little deputy? And they'll send you on these little side quests. We got this crime kingpin, and he's over here, and he's at this location. You go there, and it's like, all right, now we're going to need you to infiltrate his house. And you break into this guy's house, and you find out it's just, like, this black guy enjoying dinner. Or a black guy on an elliptical. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing in my house? And they're like, that's him! Get him! And you start fighting him, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm just defending myself! And he, like, sticks his fork at you as he's eating. He's like, the cops are so fucking racist, and that's
really timely, too. Like,
I know, right?
It's a video game. That's really funny.
There's stuff in here, like fidget spinners are a part of it, as part of, like, these artifacts that
is like a weapon
you
can use as a fidget spinner weapon?
No, they're like power-ups, basically, that increase your might or different statistics, but
That's hilarious.
I think it's great. I think gameplay-wise, there are a couple things. Like, I enjoy how easy it is to try out every type of combat in the game. Mm-hmm. Like, you can choose a class, and eventually you'll have a lot more to choose from. But at any time, you can go visit Cartman and say, hey, I want to change my backstory, quote-unquote. And you can just choose a different class or double class and things like that. And so one of the things I regretted about the first game, not regretted, but I wish that I would have been able to explore more, is in the beginning of the game, you choose whether you want to be like a mage, warrior, or a rogue, or a Jew. And right off the bat, you see Jew as an option, and you're like, obviously the game's tailored around being a Jew. There's no way I can't see how this game's going to unfold out if I choose Jew as my option. So I go through the whole game, and you're locked into this one thing, and I'm like, well, I kind of wish I knew how it was to play as the other classes. So I love how easy it is to just switch up at any time in this game, just like you can switch your gender at any time. I do think it's way too easy.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because for a comedy game, I think that kind of works because, like, imagine getting really frustrated on one part of the game.
Yeah.
And you're just really pissed off. Any joke after that sequence is not going to land because you're just kind of irritated from that frustrating combat sequence. So I can understand that. That makes sense to me.
It's super easy. Especially, are you familiar with, like, the Ubisoft? They change the name of it, like, every 6 months. But, like, the Ubisoft, like, in-game rewards.
No,
I think now it's Ubisoft Club. Where as you play Ubisoft games, you get Ubisoft points as long as you're connected to the club. And then you can use those points to buy in-game items.
Okay.
Or, like, exclusive items that you couldn't get. So, like...
Nintendo needs that. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But, so, I have played a few Ubisoft games in the past, so I started out the game with a collection of points that I could spend on any Ubisoft game. So, right off the bat, I was like, oh, cool. There's a power-up here, an artifact that I could buy. Awesome. And there's a hidden blade there's an Assassin's Creed costume. I was like, cool. And then you get these super powerful items really in the beginning of the game. I'm like, well, not super powerful, but more powerful than I thought they were going to be. And I was like, wow, this made the beginning of the game way too easy now.
Yeah, something similar to that happened in Rabbids. It's not like, it was not the same thing you're talking about, but it's if you pre-ordered the game, you got these like bonus kind of items you could use.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not going to use those because they weren't intended for everyone to use in the beginning. So it's going to give me some sort of fair advantage, which means I'm not experiencing the game in its intended way.
Right.
And that kind of
I did the same thing with an amiibo. I unlocked some weapons early using a Mario amiibo.
In what game?
Rabbids.
Oh, wait, no, Rabbids, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to avoid that stuff. As much as, like, the amiibos are cool for, like, just having a figure if you want to collect that character or something like that, I don't really use them in games that often. Yeah. And I think that kind of, like, what you're talking about, the Ubisoft points and getting new items, depending on how it gets handled, it can kind of break the game.
Yeah. But it's optional. It's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it a fuck ton. I'm laughing my ass off the entire way through it. As I said, I'm about 10 hours in, and from what I'm hearing, it's about like an 18 to 20 hour experience, which is about twice as long as the first one.
Than the first game, yeah.
And if you're thinking about playing this game, I would just recommend, you could probably get the Platinum Trophy all in one go through if you just start as a black character and choose the hardest combat difficulty, because it's not going to be that hard anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably just recommend going that route, get it all knocked out in one pass through.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's mostly what I've been playing.
Well, I've been playing a game that is equally offensive.
Yeah. 1-2 Switch.
Yeah. We'll get to that. So, no, I played the Super Mario Odyssey demo several times.
Yes, you did.
And we'll get to that, but because I played many other Mario games this week, just in excitement for playing Odyssey coming up next week. So I played Super Mario 64 DS, the DS version of that game.
Okay.
I played Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh, that's your first time playing that one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And Super Mario Land, which is...
Did you beat Super Mario Bros. 3?
No, I didn't. I just kind of like sampled all the games to kind of see like, all right, well, how's Mario been evolving over time? I want to start
Super Mario Land, that's the Game Boy one, right? With the tiny sprite?
I should clarify. Super Mario 3D Land. I did write 3D Land in here. So we'll start with Super Mario Bros. 3. That game's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That is hands down the best of the NES Mario games, for sure.
Yep.
I would go as far as to say is what I thought was really special about Super Mario World on SNES is what is special about Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. Like having a map and like going through like the map and finding little secrets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was all in Super Mario Bros. 3 before it was in Super Mario World. Super Mario World, in a lot of ways, is kind of like a prettier version of Super Mario Bros. 3.
I like in World that it kind of expanded a little bit with secret exits that brought you to like Star World or the Special World and things like that too. But yeah, that's kind of been built into Super Mario's DNA from the beginning, is those platforming with the extra secrets, and you can jump up and break the level and run all the way across and take a pipe to skip half the game or all the game if you want.
There was one moment that I really enjoyed in it, and it's that it was unexpected, and I wasn't expecting to see things that I wouldn't like. I just was kind of off the cuff and just kind of random for a Mario game.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. So I was in this level, and there was a sun.
Oh, yes.
And then I'm running, and all of a sudden the sun starts to swoop down to try to get me, and I'm like, whoa! It totally threw me off. And that was a great moment.
I always save a P-wing for that level, so I can just fly up above forever until I get to the very end.
Oh, see, I didn't have P-wings or anything like that, because it took me a while to realize that you would kind of get those bonuses like the Tanuki suit or like a firepower that you can use before you go into a level, so you're set that way. I didn't figure that out until I was in World 3.
Woof.
Yeah, that game's hard.
The World 3, that's the big world, right?
I mean, they've all been pretty...
or is that World 5?
That's the water world. That might be World 5. I didn't make it that far.
Oh, gotcha.
But that was super fun. And then Super Mario 3D Land, which was the first Mario game I ever 100% completed. I just kind of went back to play that again, and it's such an underrated Mario game.
It's so good.
It's so good. So you beat it completely, right? Not like all the coins, but like you beat all 16...
I beat all the levels with Mario. I went back and played a few with Luigi, and I played a few of the Special Worlds.
Okay, so the Special Worlds is where it gets really good, because the worlds 1 through 8 they're fun, they're enjoyable, but they're like the baby levels.
Yeah,
they're pretty easy. Matter of fact, I went through all 8 worlds, getting all 3 of the coins and all the levels in the first try without losing a life. All the way up to World 8. I'm like,
you are so good. Can I get your autograph? Oh my god.
And then you get to the Special Worlds, and it changes completely. They remix the levels you kind of already know, and they add all these twists on it, like, okay, you have 30 seconds to beat this level, and every time you beat an enemy, you get 15 seconds extra on your clock. Those get really intense. And then you have the Shadow Mario. So ever do a Shadow Mario level?
Yep.
Where Shadow Mario is chasing you. But then once you get like into the later, like Special World 7, they give you both obstacles at the same time. So you have to collect the 3. You have to collect the times to make it within 30 seconds while Shadow Mario is chasing you.
Yeah.
It gets super, super intense. One of them, Shadow Mario, is taller than you are. So you have to be extra careful about how you're maneuvering. You can't jump over him anymore. It gets really, really hard. So I think it's a really underrated game. There's also a really cool secret where if you beat every world, all the special worlds, get all the coins in all of them, get the flagpoles, the top of the flagpole on every level with Mario and Luigi, then you unlock a special level that is super, super hard. It's the hardest Mario level I've ever played, hands down. There are platforms that are literally just one block. Like one of like the question mark blocks. It's just like one of those, and you have to jump on a bunch of them in order to get to like where you need to go.
That sounds like Holden's favorite thing in the world.
It's really fun.
Like, I'm going to play one heart on Zelda and only use a sock as my weapon, and also I'm going to do it blindfolded.
I have a new one of those now.
Oh, good.
So I played all that, and I'm like, cool, I want to play like an exploration 3D Mario game to kind of get, refamiliar with that. So I played Super Mario 64 DS on my 3DS, and good lord, is it horrible on the DS.
Horrible? Like control-wise or ugly or?
Control-wise. It looks better than the 64 version.
Yeah.
But control-wise, it is absolutely terrible because 64 was designed for the analog stick, which a DS doesn't have. So when you're using the circle pad in a 3DS, you're using it with up, down, left, right on a D-pad. It doesn't actually have any sort of variable control. Or, what's the term I'm looking for? But you get what I'm saying. Like, you can't use full 360. It's impossible. It is straight up impossible. I just stopped playing it. Like, I was so frustrated with it, I stopped. When has that ever happened with a Mario game? Like, that was such a poor choice.
Maybe you're just bad at that Mario game.
No, I've beaten it on 64 before and got everything.
Yeah, but this one has Yoshi, so...
That's true, which was annoying. You start the game and you're like, I can't wait to play Mario. Fuck, god damn it, it's Yoshi. I don't want to play as Yoshi. But you can play as Luigi, which is cool, because Luigi is like superpowers, basically. You can do this crazy jump where you jump really high in the air, and then just twirl and float down slowly, which makes the platforming super easy.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. It's not a bad game, it's just the controls were abysmal. But one thing kind of stood out to me about how this is probably one of the Mario games that, for me, doesn't hold up nearly as well as other ones, is that all the levels are so small. And you're doing pretty much, like, you're just getting a start in a different location in the same world every time you go back into it. There's so little in that game if you go back. There's really not that much content.
Like, I mean, at the time, I think this is one of those games that at the time it is obviously a marvel. And then by today's standards, we've improved upon that so much that, it's like, I appreciate it. Like Citizen Kane. It's like, what's so special about Citizen Kane? It was like, well, it fucking pioneered a lot of filmmaking techniques, but
every narrative movie that comes out is just copying the visual styles of Citizen Kane. Pretty much. I mean, all of them. So that was really frustrating. That bothered me. And then I was thinking, I didn't get a chance to play because I don't have my GameCube anymore, but everyone says that 64 is better than Sunshine. Sunshine's way better than 64.
I don't know. I only played like an hour of Sunshine, and I know that you grew up with that, and you're like, oh my god, I'm a Sunshine fanatic. And also, the Wii is the best.
I think it's like, I'm a Sunshine. Oh my god, I'm a Sunshine.
No, because you're a baby, and that's what you grew up with, so of course you're going to have an affection for that.
But it plays better, and it looks better as whatever, but it's a more fun environment. I mean, the Peach's Castle is more iconic. I will not deny that. But I think that Isle del Fauno is a cooler location for Mario. People kind of keep saying, oh man, Odyssey has all these crazy, really bizarre, unique locations. I'm like, so is Sunshine. Sunshine was super different from Mario games. There's nothing else, anything like Sunshine. And the Flood Pack was just fun. The levels were huge. And I had the same problem of like, you are kind of going to the same places to do the same things.
Yeah.
In 64, you're doing the same thing in Sunshine. But Mario Odyssey, if we're going to get to that now, doesn't.
Tell me about your playtime with it.
So good. So have you got a chance to play it? It's not like any GameStop
No,
or
I have
Best Buy.
not. But I feel like for the last 12 minutes, everyone's just like, hey, Holden, shut up about whatever you're talking about and tell me about Mario Odyssey.
All right, so Mario Odyssey is great. It immediately alleviates my main complaint of 3D Mario games, exploration ones, where you have to you're in the same world all the time. There are just so many moons everywhere. I was constantly finding them, and it was really fun to be like, oh, look, there's that cactus over there. It has a little, like, patch on it. I wonder if I can throw my cap at it. You throw your cap at it, and then you become a cactus, and you're just kind of, like, shuffling around. And when you move out of the way, the ground is sparkling where the cactus was, and you do a ground pound there, and you get a moon. And it's like, they're just hidden in small ways like that.
They said that there's, like, as many moons in that one as Korok seeds.
We'll get to that. I actually have a news story about that. So it was just super, super good. It is the best controlling Mario game I've played before. It's just so fluid. How
did you play it? Pro controller?
So I played it. So this is kind of my one complaint about it. So I played it because they only had the Joy-Con grip and Joy-Cons.
Okay.
If you play it with a Joy-Con grip or the Pro controller, you are actually missing out on certain control options. They kind of want you to play this with the Joy-Cons separately, which means that handheld modes kind of suffer as well. So, like, the difference is that when you're using it in the Pro Controller mode, you can hit the yellow button, the Y button, to throw your cap, right? Throw Cappy. But it only goes forward. If you're using the motion controls, you can make him spin around you, full 360. You can, like, have him do this rolling move where he, like, rolls on the ground and comes back to you really quickly. You can, like, throw him up in the air to get things. Like, you have so much more control over Cappy, but only if you're using the Joy-Con separately.
There has to be some way around that with the Pro Controller. They can't have just isolated that. Or even in handheld mode.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing it in like a 10-minute demo increments. Played it for a lot more than 10 minutes. But it was in 10-minute increments. So it was really, really solid. It was in the Sand Kingdom. And that was a fun level to kind of demonstrate it with. Because it's things you kind of had already seen before. But they let you kind of go anywhere. And I was able to find some things that they hadn't shown in the game. There was this one part where the bullet bills, and you can capture the bullet bills. You're kind of capturing the bullet bills, then navigating this maze before it blows up on itself. And there are just so many hidden locations you can go to if you go to the different part of the maze. And it was just kind of cool that they're kind of perfecting that sense of what makes Mario games so good is that they're accessible, easy games if you want them to be. But if you want to get everything, then you have to like really do some tough shit. So it's really solid from beginning to end. Everything I played, I really enjoyed. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a game I'm going to be playing for months. Just, I'm going to go get a couple moons today, or I'm going to go in here and explore this level that I haven't
They're everywhere. And it's funny because I played it and I'm like, oh man, I challenged myself and I'm like, how many moons can I get in one little run through? And the max I got was like 8. I got 8 moons.
How many times did you play this fucking 10-minute demo?
Only 4 times.
Okay.
Which is still a lot.
I'm just imagining you at this GameStop kiosk and there's like a crowd of 10-year-old boys like, I want to play it, mommy, make him stop. You're like, shut up, kid. Shoving Cheetos in your mouth and drooling.
That kind of happened. We'll get to that shortly. Awesome. So I got 8 moons, and I'm like, oh man, I'm really, really pumped about that. I feel really good about my 8 moons I got. Do you know what the record is for the most moons collected in that 10-minute period?
No.
23.
Woof.
Craziness. But I watched that video, and there are moons everywhere. Like places I wouldn't have even thought to go. And I'm not going to spoil where the locations are for people who want to play the game, but I was really surprised. They are littered all over the place. In 10 minutes, he was able to get 23 moons. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, but can I answer your question of like, were the little kids around me? So I was playing it, and this little kid is watching me, and I'm like, oh, he wants to play Mario. I'll let him play after this. And he looks up to me, and he goes, and he's saying how he's excited about Mario. He can't wait to get a Switch. He's going to get a Switch one day. And he looks up and he goes, do you want to play 1-2 Switch? Like, of all the games that are on this system, there was like a Mario Kart demo, there was Zelda to play, they had not Hyrule Warriors, Fire Emblem Warriors, they had basically every single Switch game you could want. Pokken, and he's like, do you want to play 1-2 Switch?
You gotta milk that cow, go to jail.
I like smirked a little bit, like I'm like, oh my god, this kid wants to play a dumb game, and I'm like, sure, we can do that. And then we left to go play the 1-2 Switch, and it wasn't available for demo, just to show up at the kiosk. And I'm like, thank God, because I really don't want to play that game again. And then he had to go.
Good. Fuck that kid.
Because I'm not playing 1-2 Switch. So
you're a terrible person.
I'm a terrible person. So I think that brings me right into my first news story, because it's a lot of game talk we just did. All
right.
And it's related to Odyssey, so I think it's a good first story.
Go.
Super Mario Odyssey leaked online. So the people have been playing it, and they have been sharing video clips, and like they've announced all the kingdoms now. So every kingdom is now out there, even the ones Nintendo did not announce. Are you okay with me? Because I know you're avoiding spoilers. Are you okay with me sharing the number of kingdoms?
Sure.
There are 14 kingdoms. So 8 have been shown, and there's 14 in total, which is pretty cool. And there are some that are sizable. It's not like they're small. But the cool thing is there's 2 extra ones as well. So like 14 is the main story, and there's an extra kind of like post-game one, like the special world kind of thing. I won't ruin what it is, but of course I looked at all the stuff to know everything now.
Of course you did.
I didn't look at the final boss. I didn't look at what the final level and all that looked like, but I kind of saw what all the worlds were. And in the kind of post-game world, Cappy says, oh, if you collect this many moons, then there's another world. And based on what this post-game world is, it's highly suggestible about what the second post-game world is. So that's pretty cool. And then also the number of moons. So it was kind of funny to read on Reddit, and people were kind of saying, oh, okay, so based on what we've done so far, here's a tally of moons we think that there are. And it started around like 450. And I'm like, okay, that's not like Korok Seed level. That's still enough. Definitely enough. And then updated again. Okay, there's actually like 500. All right, there's actually 600. And now it's up to like 780 something. There's an insane amount of moons in this game. Yeah,
there was the review that leaked online last time we talked had mentioned that it was they estimated around 900 like Korok seeds.
Yeah. Which is massive. I mean, that is the largest Mario game hands down.
Yeah, it's basically like coins. They might as well just replace coins with moons.
Yeah. So there's what was I gonna say on that topic? Oh yeah, so like if even 64 in Mario 64, it was like 120 moons to beat the game, or stars to beat the game,
Yeah.
and 150 in total, I think. And I want to say that Super Mario Sunshine was the same way. So this is significantly larger than the other exploration-based Mario games. This is really exciting. And I'm not going to ruin the names, but like if you want to go online and look at the names of these kingdoms, it's very, very easy to find. You can literally just go to Google and type in Super Mario Odyssey Kingdoms Leaked. You'll find all of them. And there are some really cool sounding ones.
Is that how Google works? You just type in what you want?
And it's really amazing. And it just comes to you. So Mario Leaked Online. I know Chad wants to avoid spoilers, so I won't go too
I just want to explore it all and experience it for myself once on my save file. Not have to do it all again.
I can't wait.
Because if I find 23 moons in 10 minutes, that's 23 more moons I'm going to have to find again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's stick with Switch for a little bit. I have
a lot of Switch stuff too. Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out: there's a new Nintendo Switch update, firmware 4.0.
It's a great update.
It is a great update. It allows you kind of the most important things. One, allows you to transfer save data and user data between Switches.
Yeah.
Still not exactly like a cloud syncing option.
No.
For if you lose your Switch, but if you have two Switches side by side and you want to move your information from one to the next, you can
you got one, your brother didn't have one yet, so he's been playing a save on your Switch. Now you can just transfer it over.
Yeah, or you break and shatter your screen and you want to move that information over to your new Switch.
I was thinking about that. Like if your Switch submerged in water or something like that, it's kaput. Nope. You're just done at that point. Yeah.
You're done, yep.
So
allows you to do 30 seconds of video capture. Here's one I haven't tried it yet. Have you tried the video capture yet?
I have.
It said by holding down the button. You don't have to hold it for the full 30 seconds.
No. So it works kind of similarly to PlayStation's, where you say capture the video and it just captures the last 15 minutes of video. It just captures the last 30 seconds. It's kind of like, that was really cool, and you can just capture and then you got it.
Cool.
And it doesn't. I tried it out. You only have to hold it down for like a second. It's really quick. It's basically tap is to take a picture.
Just a picture, yeah.
Hold, and that's it. You're done.
Cool.
It's really quick.
One thing that I love, although it's still kind of limited, is that Engadget Reports is another feature that wasn't like kind of kept a secret, but it wasn't like really made big. But it's that it now supports wireless USB headphones.
Yes.
So if you have like any headphones that like a PlayStation Gold headset where you plug in a little USB part and then it transmits it wirelessly,
matter of fact,
you can
that
do that to the dock.
headset specifically does work.
Yeah.
So very cool.
It has to plug into the dock, so you can't use it in like handheld mode or something like that.
I was realizing that as a limitation because I've kind of liked playing with headphones recently.
Yeah.
But if I want to play with headphones on my Switch, I have to do it in handheld mode. There's no way of plugging the Switch into the TV and playing with headphones. Now that there's a huge demand for that feature.
Well, a lot of TVs have Bluetooth capability now where you could just sync your Bluetooth headphones with it. So sync your AirPods with your TV, huh?
That's true. There's a kind of a small feature, too, that's not getting notoriety, but it's a big deal to me.
Okay.
And that's gameplay times. So if you go in to see how much time you've spent in each game, it's made that a little bit better. And so how it used to work is it would just say, you've been playing this for a little while, up until you reached 5 hours. Now it'll say you've been playing this game for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, then 5, and then in 10 minutes, then in 5 hour increments. So it's not as good as the 3DS or the Wii U, where it told you, like, this is how many minutes you've been playing this game.
Yeah.
But it's still better. I hated that, like, I knew I put in at least 4 hours in a Snake Pass, but it still said, you played it for a little bit. I'm like, I didn't play the game for a little bit. I put 4 hours in that game.
Give me the credit where credit is due.
I do not want to go back to that game so I can get more credit. I'm done playing that game, but now it says the 4 hours, and I'm happy. So, yeah, good update. Small little update.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep.
There's also some new stuff.
Making strides to being like a good system like it should have been at launch.
I actually don't have this in my notes here, but I think there's also, and I want to I'll look this up right now, but I'm pretty sure there's also pre-order and pre-load games now.
Oh, yeah, for certain games. Mario, curiously, is not one of those games.
Probably just because it's coming out so soon, they didn't want to like mess up that launch, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'll be getting mine at 9 p.m. anyway on Thursday night, so.
Well, you'll be getting the code at 9 p.m. on Thursday night.
No,
Or did you do physical?
I did physical, yeah.
Nice.
I did physical really just so I could pick it up earlier.
Nice.
Totally short-term thinking, but you know what? That's how I want to do it.
And then you're going to pre-order that iPhone 10, right? At 3 a.m.
God, no, I'm not.
I am.
For any, I know you are. I don't think you're dumb for getting one. I just don't want that phone.
You don't.
I'm very curious to see how it plays out. But that's not. We're not a technology podcast.
No, we're not. Shut up. Get out.
So, let's see. I have a few more Nintendo stories. So let's do those, and then we can move on. Cool. I have 11 news stories this week. I have a lot.
I think I have a lot too. I'm not going to count them just because my news app is freaking out, or my news note is freaking out a little bit. But
well, let's talk about that Switch software update happened. Let's talk a little bit about Switch hardware and how well it sold last September.
Well, let me guess. It's the best again.
The best again, but by a lot. So it sold. So of hardware sales, 2/3 last month were Switch.
Nice.
That includes like handhelds, includes the SNES Classic, and all PlayStations, all Xboxes. So that's pretty good. It basically means that there are Switches available. But
they're finally ramping up some production.
In my kind of dwellings on Reddit and just my own experiences, every store I went to when I was playing the Mario Odyssey demo all had a plentiful stock of Switches.
Good.
And what I'm reading online is that people are kind of saying, some areas don't have them, and it's still impossible.
Yeah.
Some areas, you can walk in your store, and they're just not selling.
Right. I mean, you're in Rhode Island, and no one likes living there, so they're...
The economy is terrible here, to be fair. We have the highest unemployment rate, so people don't have jobs to pay for Switches. So that's the thing. But, I don't know, it's... I have this kind of, like, concern that they're going to ramp production up to 2 million, and then all of a sudden, they're not going to sell as well.
Oh no, holidays coming up, cuh.
I know.
And like you said, that little boy behind you is like, I can't wait to get a Switch. Like, mom's obviously thinking Christmas or Hanukkah
or Kwanzaa
or all three.
Or all three. That's right. I celebrate all three.
Yeah.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I celebrate.
Maybe
every
mom's
year.
a Christian, dad's a Jewish person, and they're both black. So that's a thing.
That's how it works. Black people celebrate Kwanzaa. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works, right?
I don't think that's how it works, Chad.
I don't think that you know how life works.
That's a valid point. I don't know how life works, but I do know how Nintendo is approaching the Nintendo Switch with mature games now.
Boo. Bad segue.
I had to get us out of that.
Better than any segue I've ever done, but bad segue.
So, Nintendo is wanting... Actually, where was the story? I just had it. Yeah, they're encouraging more mature titles on the Switch.
Mature as in, like, mature porn?
Absolutely,
like
yes.
Old
mature
people?
porn. Yep. No, okay. They just want to have more like games like Doom and like the Wolfenstein game coming out. They want more adult-geared games.
Yep.
On there.
Speaking of Doom,
has a release date.
We have a release date, November 10th. My mom's birthday. Doom is coming out on my mom's birthday.
Just what she wanted.
She's gonna get it.
Is she gonna? You're gonna get it for her? You're gonna get her Switch and Doom? That'd be really funny, Mom. Just by coincidence, it happened to come out today. And I knew you really wanted it. Here's a Switch.
I do remember as a kid, I made her a Mother's Day card once, and on the Mother's Day card, I like typed it all up in Microsoft Word and used that crazy ass disgusting looking word art all over the place in different fonts everywhere. And I said,
gradient isn't a gradient too, right?
Oh, there's gradient. Yep. And I was like, "Hey, Mom, I love you. I can't wait for us to maybe play Banjo-Tooie together." My mom fucking never played Nintendo 64 with me. She never knew how to work a joystick. That's not a euphemism.
That's hysterical.
And then I was just like, hey, you want to get me this game? And then maybe we can play it together for Mother's Day. Oh, man.
Hey, Mom, for Mother's Day, do you want to get me an N64?
I had a good mom. I had an N64 already.
Oh, okay.
And obviously I'd already played Banjo-Kazooie. And I was waiting for Tooie.
Do you know who else is releasing games on Switch?
Who?
Sony.
Yeah, they are. Well, a division of Sony.
A division of Sony, yeah. So, Sony Music Entertainment is going to start releasing some games. Their first game is going to be called Tiny Metal, and it's a military turn-based strategy game. This is interesting, I think.
That sounds like a what the fuck is happening over there, and who is not talking to whom?
I think it's kind of funny that of all the companies who've been against cross-platform, it's been Sony. So,
But here's the thing. It's Sony Music, not PlayStation, that's making this game.
Totally,
What I'm thinking is the most successful branch of Sony is the PlayStation branch. That is the one that is consistently making a profit. Why the fuck are they making a game publishing studio in the music division that is completely separate from all of the talent and resources that they have in the PlayStation division?
I think they think it's a marketing move where, we'll let people who don't know about Sony, PlayStation, get Sony games and then realize, oh my gosh, I can get a system dedicated to Tiny Metal.
Nope. I think it's
it's a weird move.
I don't understand it at all.
It's very strange, yeah. It'd be like Microsoft saying, we're going to release some games on the PlayStation. I guess they used to do Minecraft, but that doesn't really count.
Well, it was all released then before Microsoft bought it too.
Yeah. They could have pulled it so it's no longer available though.
Yeah, but that'd be reducing access to like the most successful game of all time.
Oh yeah, it'd be really stupid of them. But they could have done it.
You're right.
It could have been a
that
business
possibility
move.
exists.
Yeah.
Speaking of PlayStation, something I thought was really, really exciting is that on PlayStation Blog last week, they posted an article saying, hey, here are 60-plus games coming to PlayStation VR through early 2018. And there's a lot of really good shit on that list. Whether it's a supermassive game, 60-plus games coming to PSVR in the next few months through early 2018.
Wow.
I just think it's really exciting that we not only see like support from developers, but then there's a big push from Sony saying, hey, there's a shit ton of games coming out in the next few months, and we're kind of shining a light on them. I thought that was really cool. I'm very excited. So yeah, go to PlayStation Blog. There's a huge list.
Chad likes VR.
I do. I like VR a lot. Holden doesn't want to spend the money on it, so he's using that as an excuse to hate it.
I don't hate it. I'm just waiting. I did have a moment when I realized, wow, VR is totally going mainstream now. Yep. There's this place in Rhode Island called Job Lot, and it's like a bargain store kind of thing. And you walk in, and the very first thing I see is VR headset for $10. I'm like,
and it's a Google Cardboard, right?
Yeah, it's a Google Cardboard kind of thing. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, like they're really pushing VR everywhere now.
Yeah,
it's a thing. And they had one that was $20. And it had headphones built in.
Whoa! I'm sure they were great too. Great headphones.
Yeah, very good headphones. You can't get a good pair of headphones for $20, really. Let alone a VR headset that has headphones built into it for the same price. Before we move away from Nintendo too quickly, I have one more Nintendo story.
Wait, you brought us away from Nintendo to begin with. Holden, tell me your story.
My story is that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have been announced by Game Freak to be the last Pokemon RPGs on the 3DS.
Good. Let that system die.
Which I think means next year is going to be a break, and then we're going to get the Pokemon Switch game in 2019.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes. But here's something that made me think, well, maybe not. They also said that they only had 80 people working on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which was half the team working on Sun and Moon. So if they're not working,
it's basically just an expansion upon what they've already created.
No, totally. But that means that they've had the other half of, or if you think about it, like they have, I assume Game Freak's really just one large team because they basically make Pokemon games.
Yep.
So if they had 160 people working on Sun and Moon.
I know how much you want this Pokemon game to come out in 2018.
I do want it to come out in 2018.
And no matter how much digging and guessing you do, it's not going to happen. It and Metroid Prime are 2019 at the very earliest.
Metroid Prime definitely is not coming out next year. I will give you that. They basically said, hey guys, by the way, we've had some meetings. That was their announcement. We had some meetings.
Took an old Metroid Prime logo and we switched the 3 to a 4.
We got the logo from IGN.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Okami story?
Yes, the Okami story when they shipped the game with an IGN watermark on it because they just stole the picture from IGN.com and printed it.
It's like, dude, you work for the company that made the image that IGN got it from. What are you doing?
Oh, man.
All right, so that's the last Nintendo story I have. Let's move on to real gaming companies now.
The last Sony studio, or the last one I have is...
I can say that because I'm a huge Nintendo fan.
You can. I thought it was cool that Sony announces a mini PS4 controller for kids.
Yeah, I saw that.
Smaller. Not only helps kids, but also helps... It is wired, yeah. Also helps those with disabilities, too. Can be helpful with the smaller controller, so that's cool.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's good. Yeah. That's good.
That's it. That's my last Sony one.
I have a lot more stories.
Okay, go. I mean,
I'm
I have
surprised
a couple,
that you're missing a story on here.
I'm not. I did not say that's my last story.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I'm like, there's one story in here that's huge.
So that's my last Sony story.
Okay. So I have a small story here, and that's just that on October 24th, there's going to be some new Hitman content announced.
That's today? Tomorrow? Oh, Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
New announced. Okay.
And now I just think it's going to be like either a new map or something like that, or they might announce the new season 2. Who knows? We'll see. I doubt it, but I'm curious what it is.
They might announce an assassin in real life.
They might, yeah.
They might reveal his identity. I mean, it probably won't, but they could.
It's like, is that Mom? Oh my God, it's not my mom. It's Hitman. He's Agent 47. He's gonna kill me. Oh, that was really bad. I called the main character Hitman. That's like saying, are you playing as Zelda right now?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Oh, that's shameful. I have 2 more small updates just because they're just kind of the same along the same lines. Microsoft has pledged to update Halo Collection to Xbox One X support by fall of next year. And there's going to be a beta in spring, which is kind of weird to have a beta
for an update for 4K support. Okay.
Also, the game's been out since 2014. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
So that's strange. Okay. And then CD Projekt commented on Cyberpunk 2077 and just said it's going along smoothly.
Yep.
Great.
We have nothing more to announce.
To announce.
Game is still going.
They had some allegations of like poor employee relations kind of thing going on within the company.
Right.
And they just kind of came out and said, hey guys, things are fine.
Speaking of games that are not going.
Uh-oh.
EA shutters Visceral Studios.
This is upsetting.
Yeah.
This was, I think, both of our most anticipated game for in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, absolutely. Mostly, obviously, because I love Amy Hennig, who left Naughty Dog after writing Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and starting on 4. She left Naughty Dog to join EA to write this single-player, focused, story-based game in the Star Wars universe. Thought it was going to be amazing. And it's Visceral Games, the people who made Dead Space, which is one of my favorite horror things of all time. Horror properties, not just games, but horror properties. And EA has shuttered those, and Visceral Games is now being dispersed among other places. Amy Hennig, there's an update from EA responded to IGN's request for comment in regard to Hennig's standing with the project, saying the company is, quote, in discussions with Amy about her next move. End
what
quote.
That interpretation is, we don't want to work with her anymore, so we're trying to figure out how to let go of her. That's really what that means.
It definitely sounds like she's not on the project anymore.
Yeah.
So the game itself, EA, like their reasoning for shuttering the studio, in a blog post on EA, that EA Vice President of EA, Patrick Soderlund, announced that Visceral's linear story-based action-adventure game will now be developed across EA's worldwide studios, with EA Vancouver leading the production. And instead of making the linear story-based game, the title will be reshaped to be a broader experience that allows for more variety and player agency, leaning into the capabilities of our Frostbite engine and reimagining central elements of the game to give Star Wars players an adventure of greater depth and breadth to explore. Yeah,
so basically they had an Uncharted-style action game in the Star Wars universe, and they kind of want to turn it into Destiny.
Yeah, everyone's saying it's almost hands down going to be a Destiny in the Star Wars universe.
From a business perspective, that makes a lot of sense. But from a gamer's perspective, I think this is a huge letdown. The Uncharted games are just such good experiences, and that style of game isn't just for, treasure hunters and stuff like that. Like, that could really have lended itself really well to a really cool, like, epic action Star Wars adventure.
Right? And this is what everyone's been asking for.
Yeah.
For years. Yeah, from when Star Wars 1313 was announced. I was going to say. Yeah. Years ago.
When that like, it wasn't even a trailer, it was just gameplay. I'm like, that's the game I want to play right there. If I can play one game right now, that's what I want to play. And I was so blown away by that experience. And to this day, that demo still looks really great. They canned that one too.
That game got canned, and then this one coming, like, what has it now been, 3 or 4 years since Amy Hennig started on this game?
Yeah.
And it was originally
projected... They even showed a slight clip of footage of it last year.
They did, yeah.
Oh,
they were projecting 2019 as the release date for this one, and they've now said that it's going to delay it, obviously, into an indefinite timeline. Like, that's so much time and resources on a game that everyone wanted to now go towards making it more like a Destiny clone, which is, it's making money right now, and it's kind of the big hit thing, but by the time this comes out in 2020 or 2021, like, is that still going to be a fad that people are playing? Is that what people are going to want?
Yeah. Well, Destiny's supposed to be a 10-year game. We're already about, what, three or so years into that now?
Yeah, Destiny 1 was supposed to be a 10-year game, wasn't it?
No, but they said 10 years. So the whole Destiny experience was going to be 10 years, including the 4 sequels.
Yeah.
I'm so bummed about this because why couldn't we? I know, like, business money and that kind of stuff, but, like, why couldn't we have both? Why couldn't they have been like, we want to make this, let's make it from the ground up. And I'm like, hey, well, we have all these assets for this other game that was going to be awesome. Let's just scrap that awesome thing and make something else that's going to make us a boatload of money.
Yeah.
These are decisions that kind of piss off gamers. People are they're gonna forget though, and they're gonna buy the Star Wars game when it comes out. So it's not really gonna matter to EA, but it's a bummer to kind of. I mean, fans of any Hennig and Hennig
to play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
we don't know what was going on behind the scenes of the scenes of the game. It could have just been not coming along very well at all. They could have. I mean, it could have been another Mass Effect Andromeda that they're like, hey, we don't want to have another Andromeda on our hands and release something subpar. Maybe we'll just nip it in the bud now and reappropriate.
But if a subpar Star Wars game came out, oh my gosh, there's never been a subpar Star Wars game before. That's never happened. So, but there are some developers who have kind of come out and said the game was really fun. It was funny. It was exciting. It was action packed. Like, they were coming out saying good things about it. That usually doesn't happen after something like this.
Yeah.
Like, developers are coming out to say it was great. This seems like a business decision.
Poor Amy Hennig too. Like, gets halfway through doing Uncharted 4, leaves that project, gets halfway through doing Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Studio gets shut down.
Another thing too is I think this kind of takes away from gaming being a storyteller's medium.
Yeah. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to keep any kind of semblance of whatever narrative she wrote in a Destiny-style experience. Yeah.
That's a bummer. But we still have developers who make storytelling-styled games, so this is going to be fine. But
yeah. It just sucks. That's the Star Wars game everyone was so fucking excited. I mean, Battlefront 2, it looks fun, but everyone was super pumped for this one.
We have another company that made some questionable business moves, I think.
Go.
Did you hear about Activision's patent? Have you heard about this?
I did, yeah.
This is a bummer. So I'm going to lay it out. So basically, they have a patent on matchmaking that links to loot boxes, which was a big topic last week's episode. So basically how it works is they want to have matchmaking done where you are a junior player who's like newer gets matched with an expert player who has better weapons. And the idea is going to encourage them to buy loot boxes and stuff that are new equipment that will make them better. Like, oh man, I really sucked, but if I buy the stuff, then I'll do better. And then what they do when you buy the stuff is they then match you with players who have equipment types that you are super effective towards.
Right.
So that you immediately
match you on a map that works well.
So you immediately feel like, oh man, I'm doing so much better. This is great. Man, buying this was so worth it. And then after a while, they start to match you with people who are much better than you so that you're more inclined to buy stuff again. And it's so shitty.
Kind of the example that they used was you're playing a game against a person who has a really great sniper rifle. And at the end of it, they're like, this person killed you a lot. They have this sniper rifle. Do you want to buy that gun? And you say, you know what? Yeah, he was doing really good. He had that gun. You buy it. Great. The next match they match you up on, they give you either shittier opponents to play against or a map where that sniper rifle works really, really great. And then suddenly you feel like, oh my God, that validates my purchase. I'm suddenly now really good now that I have this gun. I'm going to buy more shit that it suggests to me so that I'm even better at this game. But then, it goes in there and is like, oh, cool. Well, now that you feel comfortable with that weapon, here are some people that are going to kick your ass with a shotgun. Do you want his shotgun? You're like, oh, fuck, yeah, I do want his shotgun. And it's just like a never-ending cycle of
eventually, when you get to a point where you bought all the guns, you're like, cool, I have this shotgun. Well, here's someone who has a better shotgun. Do you want to buy this better shotgun? Am I kidding? This is in there.
It's so fucking gross.
It's really gross. Like, it takes the competitive element out of the games when stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
It's just a huge bummer.
They were saying, like, they applied for the patent back in 2015. It just got approved, like, last week. Mm-hmm. So it's not actually in any games right now. Yeah. So nothing you're playing is affected by this at all. It's just a patent that they own. They don't even necessarily have to use it at all. But, I mean, being Activision, I could definitely see that popping up in a Call of Duty.
This could be patched in. This doesn't have to be part of the nature of the game entirely.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's fucking gross.
I'm bummed about it. It's not cool.
Yeah. I think that's all my stories.
Yeah, that's all my stories too. Yeah.
Oh so no! Cool. Actually, one small thing I did want to point out.
No, you don't get a chance to talk about that. You said you were done.
Epic Games is suing Fortnite cheaters.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah.
Violated the terms of service. I think that's just really cool. That aside from like saying, "Hey, while you play this game, you won't have access to this if you have a pirated copy," or if you're cheating, then this is going to happen in the game. Like they're legit going after them and saying, "Hey, you're changing our source code, and that's a thing against our terms of service, and we're gonna fine you for it and sue you for it." I think it's really cool.
It encourages healthy competition, unlike the Activision stuff.
Exactly. Yep.
That's so good
for Epic. I'm really happy that's happening.
So yeah, so we're gonna go into our topic of the week.
Topic of the week. It's a pig squeal now.
It's a little bit early to be talking about this because the 4-year anniversary technically hasn't happened yet. Both Mario coming and then Xbox One X coming immediately after. This is kind of the best time to talk about it. Yeah. So we're 4 years now into the current gen.
Woo!
So just wanted to kind of just celebrate that a little bit, talk about what we've enjoyed.
Happy that 4th kind of birthday. Stuff. You guys are going to kindergarten next year.
So we had a podcast discussion once. We talked about what constitutes a gaming generation and what distinguishes generation by generation from each other. What do you think was the promise of this generation that distinguishes it from the last generation, and has it lived up to that?
I think a big part of it was online connectivity and sharing with your friends, and that's kind of what everyone's been touting as the major features of. At least for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm not counting Nintendo as much into this
because they're also kind of halfway in between that.
Path. They're also halfway in between that, yeah. And they also don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're about right. I kind of wrote the cloud was the big thing.
Yeah.
Which allows for like game sharing. Game sharing is very cool, but I kind of think on both accounts, it's kind of a dud. Like, do you ever do game sharing? How often?
I've done it occasionally.
I've never done it once.
I've done it where I was stuck in a boss on Bloodborne, and I turned the controller over to my friend who lives in Boston, and he beat it for me. I've also just like peeked in on a friend who was playing a game and was like, "Hey, I miss you. You mind if I just watch you play some games while I like doodle on the couch or something like that?" I mean, that sounds really dirty now that I say that out loud, but I mean, it was a cool way to kind of collect and just chat. It was like, "Oh man, that was really cool what you just did there." So I've used them a couple times. I don't think I've ever used this like game sharing like multiplayer features where you could share the same game with someone afar, even if they don't own it. But
I think Sony has been a lot more successful at this than Xbox has, because Sony has the benefit of PlayStation Now, and not so much the subscription streaming component, but more of the remote play. Sorry, is the thing I'm talking about, not PlayStation Now, where you have a Vita, you want to play So like you would come over to my house, we play Bloodborne together, and then you would just play in your Vita, and then I was on my TV.
Yeah.
And you kind of play online that way because you were remotely connecting to your PlayStation 4. That, I think, it was there in PlayStation 3, but now it's ubiquitous. Now it is every game, you can do it everywhere all the time.
Xbox has something similar now where you can, like, you can stream your games or certain games through your Windows 10 PC or something like that. Okay. I don't know. I don't have a Windows 10 PC or an Xbox, so I can't speak on that definitively.
Yeah, I don't have anything Microsoft at all.
But I think kind of the biggest thing that came out of it is streaming culture.
Yeah,
is huge. I mean, it's been there for a little bit on PC, but having that readily available and built into the system, like being able to stream straight with your PlayStation camera to Twitch.
Yeah,
it has really given birth to Twitch itself has become successful because of it. Like, you now, instead of just reading a review, you can go watch somebody play this game, and it's given birth to a brand new type of gamer who might not even play video games that often, but they consume so many hours of content of just watching people like PewDiePie, that unfortunate racist, and all these other like big profile gamers just playing things, and it's a kind of weird hybrid between like television and gaming.
And Let's Play is huge.
Yeah, and Let's Plays, like all of that culture is all
bigger than Hollywood now, or something like that. Is what I was reading.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
like
massive.
And it really gained steam because of the built-in inherent capabilities of these new consoles and their ability to share and stream online.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think if you don't do that stuff though, games are kind of the same.
Yeah, in the sense a lot of the same, just prettier maybe.
Yeah, because like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generations, I think really brought in open world games in a big way. Like you had it with GTA on the PlayStation 2, but it really became notable and much more worthwhile and like full-fledged on the last gen systems.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen a genre get created like that this generation like we did last. Like, I guess you could say we've seen a lot more artsy games, and I think that indie games has also kind of become much more prevalent.
Yeah.
And that just kind of goes more back to how internet is changing our games. Like, because you can download more games, like that's more readily available, it's easier to get an indie game. It's easier for them because they don't have to release a physical copy of the game and paying for all that stuff. So they don't have to get a publisher. They can go to Sony or Xbox and say, hey, we got this game. Do you like it? Please put it on your store.
And with the x86 architecture, it's easier to port it from Steam, too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, actually, I didn't even think about that, but that's actually a really big deal.
Yeah.
Because it also means that, and this is kind of more thinking about the future, but like this could also mean that it's the first generation of systems that is guaranteed backwards compatibility in the future.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Unless they like, it's the x87 architecture this time. It's not exactly the same. PlayStation goes back to the cell processor. Like, guys, we figured it out this time.
You guys, we got PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility on lock. Can't play any of your PS4 games, though, because this is the cell processor again.
You should just buy a PS4 and a PS5. Yeah. I think the big thing that I really like, and it's rest mode. Rest mode is awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's like now so just great. Built into our lives, and we've come to expect it.
I'm like, okay, I'm playing Dark Souls. I'm going to stop for a little bit. I'm just going to put in a rest mode and come back whenever the hell I feel like it.
Yep.
Like, I don't have to, like, save the game, turn the whole console off. You kind of do it at any point.
I haven't saved, like, thought about going into a menu and hitting save in months.
Yeah, the only time I think about saving is when I'm playing Dark Souls and they purposely make it difficult.
Yeah. Or if I get that little warning that says your Switch is about to die while I'm playing Rabbids. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll save this.
Yeah. I think something that's kind of cool, too, and this is probably going to be something that most people don't agree with, but I like how many re-releases that we're getting.
Yeah.
Because, again, it kind of means we're going to have these games for a long time with that kind of forward-thinking architecture. But also, I didn't play a lot of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games. And that's not something we saw a lot of on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 was player PS2 games. And, like, you know, we're going to remake them for the PS3. Like, there were exceptions, of course, but it's a lot more common of a practice.
I like it because I feel like we finally hit not a wall, but a plateau in terms of visual fidelity.
Yeah.
Like a level that is good enough for the next 10, 20 years. That we
20 years? I don't know about that.
Maybe. I don't know. At least
so.
For regular two-dimensional screens. But so yeah, if we take
I don't agree with you on that one, but I see what you're saying.
But it'll look good. It won't be like, hey, I'm going to put in a PlayStation 1 game and it looks like a polygonal piece of trash.
Right, those games look great and they hold up very well.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
So updating these games like Ratchet and Clank, updating them to this generation here, I think preserves them so much longer than if we had like just had backwards compatibility to play the PlayStation 2 version of it.
Yeah, and also for controlling as well, because when you're bringing it over to PlayStation 4, you can't just bring the controls over. You got to tailor them a little bit. And sometimes PS3 games control not as great as the current generation does. I still don't like the joysticks on the PS3. The DualShock 4 is the first PlayStation controller I actually really like.
It's great.
It's
fantastic.
A great controller, yeah.
DualShock 3 I was fine with because it was comfortable and this is what I was used to, but DualShock 4, man.
Yeah. So what are like your highlight games this generation? Like what are games that kind of speak as to like what this generation is about for you?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
I figured you were going to say that.
Destiny. Even like as controversial as the first Destiny was in its like regular state, like the initial launch of it, like that's kind of been, those games as service have really taken off, and that's kind of been, I don't know, maybe that's the defining game genre, quote unquote, of this generation is games as a service. Yeah, because
no, you're totally right.
Ubisoft is completely moving over to that style for every single one of his franchises. EA is the Division. They're now moving the Star Wars to be more of a game as a service. Like I think that
Avatar
might be...
game as a service game going to be coming out.
God damn it, Avatar!
Can't wait for that one. I hope it
Last
ties into the 4
Airbender.
movies.
Maybe I'll be interested in it. James Cameron, meh. Give me the M. Night Shyamalan movie adaptation of the comic book adaptation of the anime adaptation of Avatar.
That was a good
maybe
tangent.
Game as service might be my vote for like the defining type of video game genre, or it's not really a genre, but it's a.
I know what you mean.
Like
it's
open
something that
world's
wasn't
not a
possible
genre,
before.
Yeah. I lost complete track. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 5.
How is that defining for you? I guess it's an open world structure to Metal Gear Solid that wasn't possible before. Yeah.
The gameplay mechanics of it, I feel like that has been the most perfect and fluid gameplay. Mm-hmm. It just feels so good. Like that is the height of gameplay right now.
I still have that game and haven't played it yet. I really want to.
You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Yeah, those 3 so far. Name some of yours.
I think, because I'm coming mostly from PlayStation 4, but in terms of like those games kind of being a little bit more artsy and just kind of different experience, The Witness for me speaks to me that way.
Sure.
I mean, that game's on mobile, so it's not like it's pushing the boundaries of the PlayStation 4, but I think because of the different types of games that are coming out, The Witness was able to kind of leave a mark in a way that it wouldn't have if it were the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 3 or 360 or Xbox. Bloodborne is my favorite game of this generation, so I have to mention that. Good. Which is nothing like, it's very similar, of course, to Demon's Souls and to the Dark Souls games that are on previous consoles. But again, kind of going to your whole like the graphics and they kind of at this point where they're really solid. There's nothing wrong visually with the way Bloodborne works. To this point where if a new generation comes out, I really think Bloodborne will still look really, really good today.
Exactly. And I still hold that 10, maybe 20 years from now, it'll still look beautiful.
It will. It will. And this is going to seem weird, but Hitman...
Yep, seems weird.
Because it's not so much that it looks really good, it's because of the power of the console, you can have so many AI processes happening at any given time.
Sure.
That it makes that world feel a lot more believable. Like if you were to play, like even Hitman Absolution, it's like I am playing a video game where I'm a hitman. Whereas in this new game, there's a little bit more of a sense of I am in this real place, and there's all these things that I can kind of tamper with.
Sure.
That
just kind of makes it that much more believable that it is a living, breathing environment.
Exactly. And just because of the processing power and how many computations can be run at any given time. So those kind of games speak to me that way. And it's because I don't do a lot of the games for service type stuff. I still prefer the single player experiences, which those haven't seen a big change. But there are those kind of, at least for Hitman, I think it's probably the best example of what this generation can do.
Yeah.
It really made that game better than it could have been before. I think those are kind of the 3 for me. And there's Uncharted 4, which is really good, but it's really not that much different than Uncharted 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Minus it looks a lot better. And it plays a lot better too, I think. But
I mean, yeah, it's just Uncharted 3, and they just ramped everything up, and every part of it is better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, perfection plus perfection equals still perfection, but it's nothing new. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got for this generation.
But there's a rope in that one.
There's a rope. That's right. It changes everything. I never used that rope unless I absolutely had to.
Oh man, I use it all the time. I loved like sneaking up and using a rope and then like fucking pouncing on a guy as I land and then breaking his neck. Fucking love murder.
Then you should play Hitman because that's all that game is about. I want to play Uncharted again. I want to play Last of Us again. I'm actually really wanting to play that. I'm
at a point now where I'm so close to impulse buying. I might for Black Friday buy a 65-inch OLED TV. That I'm holding off on a lot of games to play them on that beautiful screen because I know the next time I play Uncharted, I'm gonna go for the platinum. So I'm gonna play it on the hardest difficulty.
Don't you have a 4K TV right now?
No, I just have a regular 1080.
That's right. You were talking about getting one, so you're gonna do that too.
Yeah, I think Black Friday I'm gonna jump on it.
Do they sell TVs on Black Friday? Is that a thing?
It depends on who you mean by they. If you mean the grocery store, no.
Oh, that's right.
It's like a Japan 7-Eleven. Yes. In Japan, they have 7-Eleven brand TVs.
Do they really?
They do.
I would never get a 7-Eleven brand TV. When I got my 4K TV, Costco had an insanely good deal. You see my TV.
Yeah.
It's really nice. That was like $600. Not bad That was the 4K TV like last year, so it's not OLED though. It is not OLED.
I want that OLED sexy screen. So yeah, what hasn't gone so well this generation?
I think I kind of said it earlier, which is just there hasn't really been a lot that's like new. I think that 360 and PS3 brought in a lot of new franchises. Uncharted was a new franchise we got. We got on the PS3. Gears of War was a new franchise we got on the 360. And like, I feel like we're getting a lot of the sequels of the same games. We're not getting that much in terms of the AAA games. Like Dishonored 2 came out. Okay, well Dishonored 1 came out on the 360 and the PS3. Like Gears of War 4 was one of the big Microsoft games. Again, that was on the 360. Like and even like Bloodborne. Like Bloodborne, yeah, sure, it's an original IP. It's so heavily based off of Dark Souls that it hardly counts. So we still haven't seen new franchises being created, and that's what I always look forward to. Knack is the closest I can think of right now, but I'm sure you're going to say one that I wasn't thinking of. It's like, oh, of course, besides Destiny. Because Destiny doesn't count because that was on 360 and PS3 as well.
Right. I think we're in the middle right now, like the last year-ish, maybe year and a half, is where we don't know it yet because the sequels haven't been developed, but those are the games I think they're going to start the new franchises for us, like Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously.
That is the, like, and you know, I'm not as crazy about the game as you are, but I will admit that is the only huge franchise I can think of.
Yeah, I think that may be a topic for a different week where we discuss like, hey, of what's come out this generation, what do you think is going to be the next big franchise, or what do you think is going to be kind of defining for this one? Yeah, I think you're right. There hasn't been a lot of new so far.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, since it's so topical, loot boxes have cropped up as a thing.
Yeah, microtransactions. The mobilization of consoles has happened, Yeah. So that's not fun.
But I mean, as we mentioned last week, things like that pop up every generation, whether it's something gross that the companies like online passes, things like that.
Yeah. One thing we haven't talked about that's really kind of new this generation, at least in terms of being really mainstream and now everyone's doing it, is the whole games for gold and free games to PlayStation Plus. That happened on PlayStation 3. Yeah, but now it is a mainstream thing.
Yeah, every company has some version of it, and Nintendo keeps telling us something like that's coming, but
it's obviously going to happen. And they even kind of have it too, like if you have enough platinum points from buying games, you can still get like games for free. But they're like
that's not the same at all.
They're not quite as good. It's similar-ish.
No, that's not the same at all.
Sure.
But they keep talking about, they're like, we're going to have our one game a month that has new online features, and we're never going to tell you anything else about it ever again.
Yeah, they need to talk about that. They really need to.
But yeah, I definitely appreciate that service. It's definitely highlighted a lot of games that I wouldn't have otherwise played, or whether or not I play them, I'm more aware of them and can appreciate them for how they impact our gaming culture.
Like Until Dawn, I never would have played Until Dawn had it not been free, and I'm really glad I played that. It's a really good game.
Yep.
Very, very fun.
Reminder, we're playing Amnesia, the first game for, I guess that'll be next week that we talk about it.
For Halloween.
Yep, Halloween.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about Amnesia, and then we're going to talk about Mario Odyssey, because we'll have both played Mario Odyssey at that point.
Oh, I forgot for about 4 minutes that game was coming out this week, and then I just remembered now again, and I'm so fucking excited.
I cannot wait. I'm so pumped for that game.
Yeah.
Then after that, there's really nothing else coming out this year that I'm really excited about.
Except for there's Doom on Switch. There is Skyrim on Switch.
I'm not going to get Doom on Switch.
You're not?
No.
Holden's not going to get anything that comes out on Switch?
I might get Xenoblade. I might
Skyrim?
get Skyrim. I might get it. I want to play that game, but I might. I don't know if I'm going to quite yet. I honestly more want to see how a game like that gets reviewed on the Switch. Like, if they say, like, this is the worst version of it, it's always choppy, and, like, the load screens take forever, like, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad I waited.
One thing I did want to get your opinion on.
Yeah.
Doom, because you've played Doom, and you said how fluid and fast that game is important to you. What's your opinion on when they came out and said that it will run at a consistent 30 frames per second on Switch?
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. How smooth that game is what makes that game so good. But the video I've seen... So, here's the thing is, it is technically 30 frames per second, but they do something to it to make it feel the same, is what I was reading. I can't remember what there's some technical term. So they're trying to replicate that feeling of the 60 frames per second still. So I'm curious how that plays out, what that's going to look like.
A little Curious George.
This is definitely... It's really cool that Doom is coming to Switch. Can the Switch handle Doom? I don't know, and that's what I'm really curious about. I think the Switch can handle Skyrim. I do believe that.
Yeah, at this point, Skyrim is like 5 years old, and it didn't look stupendous when it came out.
Yeah. But then again, Bethesda games are always known for having atrociously terrible bugs.
Exactly. So it's going to get a pass anyway.
Yeah. I'm kind of bummed about the 30 frames per second. I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like when they say... It feels like we were talking about it before, like, oh, it's really cool that Switch is getting these games. The only thing that would prevent it from being cool to have all these third-party games is if they are significantly worse on the Switch for some reason. And in the case of Doom, having the frames per second is part of that for me.
Interesting.
Not kind of bummed.
Well, you'll have to go play it at a GameStop kiosk in 10-minute fragments. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I'll watch reviews and see what it's like. Because one thing too is there's not a lot of footage of this game.
Right.
Yeah, everything's like
off-screen camera footage and like.
Yeah, and if it was running really great, they'd show it to you.
Yeah.
They would want you to see that. So.
Well, cool. Do we have any interrogatives this week?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Nope. That's blank. Thanks so much for writing into us, everyone. We appreciate your communication. No, we love you. Whether you just listen to us or whether you just have somebody transcribe our podcast and you read us, we appreciate anything that you do. Go subscribe and like us. Share us with your friends. Go home and eat a pie today. Mm-hmm. Whatever day you're listening to it.
It's National Pie Day.
Thanksgiving's coming up. National Pie Day, 3.14, March 14th today. Episode 33. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to us and joining us. Holden, is there anything you'd like to tell our friends before we leave?
I love all of you guys.
Oh, what a wuss. You guys suck. So you got to belittle them, and then they'll appreciate you more. It's called negging. Odyssey. It's called negging.
All right, all you guys suck? Is that what I should have said? Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, everyone sucks.
Just kidding. I love you. Holden's terrible.
I was pressured into saying that, you guys.
I'll see you with Mario Odyssey and Amnesia.
Ooh, can't wait. Bye-bye.